So there is something I've wanted to do for a while, which was to demonstrate how I plan a walk. So for this walk, we're going to start with a place called Table Mountain that I want to find. So I can type in, I'll do view. So this is Google Earth here, Google Earth Pro for desktop, and I'm working in a PC environment. So turn on the sidebar. We're going to do a search for Table Mountain. So yeah, Table Mountain. I'm not quite sure if this is a mountain I can actually do. This is why we're going to run this exercise. So this is Glenmalure Valley. This is where we were camping last week. Table Mountain is all the way up here. Now, I think myself and Joe were over here one day and we were looking down. Myself and Joe were here one day. We walked all the way up to here. Might be here. Yeah, so we were here and we were looking this direction. Here's Lugnaquilla here. This is the Valley of Death. It's where Joe fell into the water. Now our steepness is a bit, our altitude, our elevation profile is a little bit wrong, but I'm gonna just leave it so that it's horrible looking. And I reckon this is Table Mountain here. So there's a whole walkway all the way up to Table Mountain, right? That's what I want to have a look at today. But this is how I plan a walk. I don't just go up there and walk, follow a map. What I do is I use a trail to find my way. That's Caman Balog? There's Table Mountain there. So Table Mountain is to the right. Okay. And it looks like there's a path. Looks like it's quite an easy to find path. But I'm not happy with easy to find paths because disorientation is a thing that I'd be quite happy admitting happen. And so there's certain safety levels that I want to be at when I go and hit these mountains. And this is how I do this. So we're going to just switch to Chrome now. And we're going to type in Ireland. We're going to go to Ireland. So this program is called Outdoor Active. This is a program that I use for the last couple of years. It's great. It records all my trails. It shows me other people's trails who have walked other walks. So let's find, where are we? Glenmalure. Okay. And this is Glenmalure Valley, and here's Table Mountain here. And Table Mountain is right on the edge of a military base. That's what we can see there is a military base. There's some new information that we weren't aware of before, is that there's a military range. Well, I knew there was a military range, but I didn't know if Table Mountain was actually connected to it. So it's not. The summit seems to be free of it. Here's this valley that we were looking at. Here's our elevation profiles. And then this is where we were camping recently. And that's the walk I did up to the top where I did that walk. Okay, so let's have a look here. We've got a few different walks. Okay, let's have a look at this one. This seems to show us Table Mountain. And this map does look like a waypoint. So this is different. I don't like waypoint maps. Waypoint maps are just lines. And when I look at Outdoor Active, I do not trust these waypoint maps at all. It's something I've learned. You don't follow waypoint maps. Let's have a look here. You follow footfall maps. And footfall maps are a lot more detailed. There's Table Mountain, still not in there. Let's have a look if there's a different way from a different side. Table Mountain West top. Table Mountain, 700 meters. No, maybe Table Mountain is inside this range. It does look like the summit is inside this range. And it looks like some of the maps are avoiding Table Mountain. So maybe Table Mountain is not where we're going to go. Interesting. There's something that might be a bit more of interest to us. Where is this car park? Glen Road. Every single one of these maps is Glenmalure. Or is Lugnaquilla. Right, so that looks interesting. That's Lugnaquilla as well. And that does not bring us up here. So, what I'll sometimes do as well is I'll download maps around the area so that I know exits and stuff like that that I have. Look at that one. That's definitely across the military range. Oh, there's one. Okay, there's the Table Mountain one via the zigzags. And that brings us back to here. So let's take a look at this one. This one brings us, okay. And then I'm going to take the GPX. This route passes through an inaccessible area and is therefore closed. This is the zigzags, the way up the zigzags. GPX, ready to download. I'm going to open that folder. And then I'm going to switch back to Google Earth. I'm going to drag my GPX in. Create KML lines. Okay. And now we have a route. And this is what we're looking at. So this is where we thought we were going to go. And this also looks like a waypoint map. It is indeed a waypoint map. Why are there so many waypoint maps in Ireland? People just don't walk them, I guess. They're done with walking groups and they're using bearings. So this is their bearing to here, their bearing to here, their bearing to here. They have it recorded that way. Interesting. So there's one there that kind of shows us a way up and a way back. There's our first protocol. And this is a mean little walk. Does it show us the elevation profile? Interesting. So yeah, this is kind of what I do. And then I'm going to save that map. And as I save it, I don't want to do all of this to Lugnaquilla, but it's interesting. Look at the length of it. And this is the route that's closed. This is the zigzags that's now closed because that farmer has closed off his land. There's a route down this way, I think here. I think this is the route down to Arts Lake, Arts Lock. You come down this way, come down into, no, you come down into Arts Lock, down here, and then out and back to this car park. I'm not sure what the name of this car park is, but this is going to be our starting point, is this car park. So what we're seeing there is Table Mountain is something we can do. It means going up this way to Table Mountain. I just wonder, is there another way down? There's no other way down. Right, so I'm going to save that map. Just switch back to Lugnaquilla, and I'm going to bookmark this to want to do. And then I'm going to have to sync my phone. My phone also has the app called Outdoor Active on it, and I'm going to sync the map. I'm also going to use two phones. So I'm going to bring two phones with me, and I have to then download the map area on my phone. So what I mean by downloading the map area is when you're outside of data, this being mobile data, then Outdoor Active and these apps will not show you where you are. They may actually show you the line and with your GPS, but they won't show you detail of the topography. So we need to save these maps. I need to save a version of this map to my phone, the surrounding area. I need to download a high definition topography map to my phone. Now that's another section of this, another layer to this, but it's not something I can teach you. It's something that you have to actually figure out how this works. I'm just showing you how I do it. I'm not teaching somebody how to walk up Table Mountain. So let's just go back a bit. Another part of the way I look at mapping is I don't just go with the first thing I find. I'm going to do a bit of more of a detailed look to see if there's any other maps or data that I want to use. Maybe there's another way, maybe there's different routes. And that's what I'm going to look at. I'm not just going to pick the first one that I find. I'm going to go through numerous different maps to see what I can find. So there's a bunch of them here. Now there's a good one there. This one's not bringing us down Arts Lock, but it's bringing us down down the steep route here, which is where myself and Joe came up. That looks interesting. How do I deselect these maps? So here's a bit of a more familiar map for a lot of people is the topography maps. That that looks like kind of what I wanted was this one. This definitely isn't a waypoint map as well. And it brings me quite close to Table Mountain. There's definitely a link here, and this looks a lot more as to what I wanted to do, a lot more doable. It brings me along some mountains that I haven't been on. It's a circular route, and I know about a third of this route, so I know to about here. Up here is quite tricky. The terrain is boggy, marshy, dangerous, water, cold. Everything up here is going to be cold, and we're going to be up at 700 meters most of the time. So let's have a look at this one. 14 kilometers is a bit tight on time. So we're doing maybe 3 kilometers an hour, maybe 2 kilometers an hour. So that's 7 hours walking, and there's about 8 hours of light. So that's another question I'll be asking myself. Okay, so start download. Then we find the GPX. Is that this one? Yeah, 31st of May. And then I'm going to switch back to Google Earth. I'm going to drag in this GPX, create the XML lines. And there we go. Now we have two maps that give us a route that we can follow. And you can see on this map the difference between the maps. And this is something that, people are not aware of using these apps, is that some people make waypoints without walking the route. Walking clubs and stuff like this, they make these. These are really dangerous. I mean, you're not going to walk in a straight line here. As you can see, much more detailed positions. And this is the type of map I'm looking for, is something that shows us all these detailed points. And each of these is a recorded position when the person walked the map. Whereas the other map, this one, is somebody who went onto the map and created a route with waypoints. And, for the person who's unaware of this, it's highly dangerous. And if you're on the top of some peak, it can tell you to walk to the right, and you're on a steep descent. Like if you say, for example, this sort of thing here. And I've seen people who are competent map readers go for a walk off ledges, in a fog. I've seen them come right up to things like this because they're following what they've been taught rather than experience, and highly dangerous. Anyway, this looks like my map. So this is the one I'm going to actually save. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to create a route myself. So I'm going to upload a GPX to my app, Outdoor Active. So I'm going to go to my name, Route Planner. I'm going to want to upload a GPX. Right, where is this? Import GPX track, right? So I'm going to call it, right. Super, right. Now we have our route. Now, which direction are we going? I feel like I want to go this way. Which way are we start? Where is the starting point? A, B, C. Yeah. So we want to reverse this. I don't want to go up this. I want to come down this. So we're going to have easterly and southerly and northerly winds. Okay. So I want to reverse it. H. Yeah. Okay. And we're going to have an A down here somewhere. Yeah. A behind H. Super. And then we're going to have a B somewhere along here. There's our B. And we're going to have a C and a D and an E and an F and a G and a H. Okay. Now I'm going to save this to save, same way back, close loop, root options, reverse, reset. Okay, how do I save this? And we can see the elevation profile. So we start off at 165 meters. We're coming up to 206. There's a lovely elevation profile. That's over 6.5 kilometers. So 6.5 kilometers. And I can always turn back as well from this point, but this is going to bring me up to Table Mountain. 6.5 kilometers up to 750 meters. So it's a 600 meter climb. Cool. Okay, now continue. And I'm going to call this Table Mountain Ascent. Table Mountain Ascent. Super. Okay, so that is, let's have a look at something in my way here. Right. And now I'm going to visually look at it again. I'm going to go back into Google Earth. I'm going to remove the GPS track. All right, I'm going to turn this one back on. I'm going to rename this to planned route Table Mountain. And now the last part of this, I'm going to have to record with my phone. So I'm just going to check this again. I'm going to turn on photos. See if there's any photos of the route. Caman Balong. This looks pretty. And I'd say the view up here is just going to be absolutely amazing. Let's look at what view we have. So we'll have the view of Lugnaquilla in the distance. Lugnaquilla is going to be here as we come up. We're going to have this beautiful valley to turn around and look at what we've achieved the entire time. And that leads back out to the Irish Sea. This is the biggest glacial valley in the world. Glenmalure Valley, the largest, but absolutely no internet connection. And this is really important to know, is that when you have no internet connection in this area, certainly up here, I'm going to get internet connection. Up on this ridge, I've been up here before. Up here, I've got an internet connection. But if you don't have internet connection, it can be, you really need to have your wits about you. You really need to know where you are. And part of the topography, obviously this isn't a very difficult climb by any means. It's just long and hard. But I need to know exactly where I am. If I want to zoom in say if there's some lake here to the left and no lake on the right, I want to know where I am. I want to know what this looks like. So I have to download this physical map to my phone. So maybe that's the next part. I'm going to show you how I do that, and we'll just stop the recording right now. Right. So we're going to open Outdoor Active. And I'm going to sync. So I need to sync. Yeah, isn't this fun? I've been meaning to do this for a while because I feel a bit responsible when I see people climbing hills. They're like, how does he do this? Or how do you do this? So let's have a look at my page. Routes. Table Mountain. Let's have a search here. No. Tracks. No. Wow, look at all the walks I've done. Holy carambas. Plans. Table Mountain. Okay, so here we go. Not published. Grand. Okay. Now I want to download it, first of all, onto my phone. So we're going to hit download. And I'm also going to do this on my spare phone. So I'm going to do this on a second phone. I'm going to carry two phones with me. Now, the reason for carrying two phones is just personal preference. I like that one of my phones, I think, is a bit dodgy with GPS. It just seems to put me different places. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So I have another phone that I use, and I'll probably use that for navigation and just use my phone as a backup. So I'm going to repeat this process twice. What I'll want to do here is I'll want to download different layers. So this is the Harvey map. I'm going to switch to a topography map. You call this a ordnance survey map. Offline mode. Okay. Download a new section of map. Activate download offline mode. Download a new section of map. And then it's going to ask me, what section would you like? And I'm going to choose this whole section. Now this gives me, this is this part that I was saying to you, it gives me an offline map of the area that I'm in. And it's going to ask me, how much do I want? And this is a more detailed map. So where are we? Glen of Amal, Table Mountain, Glenmulur, Lugnaquilla. So 30 megabytes, 200 square kilometers, download section. And that means that when my phone is not in coverage, I still have a very detailed map of where I'm walking. So I can zoom in, zoom out, and see the detail that data transfer would give me if I wasn't on, if I was online. I'd be able to scroll through the map and see what was coming up or where I was going. And people don't realize that you need data to do that. You think your phone has this detail. And that's what's dangerous about Google Earth or Google Earth or using Google Maps because it needs an online presence to be able to show you that detail. So once you go outside of network coverage, it's gone. And the other app I wanted to show people was a thing called Glimpse. This will not work. It will work for a certain amount, but it's still better to have it on. When you come in and out of coverage, it will update your position and send your position to your loved ones. I'm not into carrying devices. that you need to charge or anything like that. I know they're great devices for people. They give you a layer of safety. But this is the other thing that I use. I turn on location access, and I'll do this with one of the phones. And realistically, this just sends a beacon back to my wife that says, you're here, and I'm able to send this. I'm able to share an active glimpse. The glimpse will send to my wife for a certain amount of time. So I can choose 4 or 5 hours, and it's saying here we recommend connecting to a power source. And when it comes to power sources, you have power blocks. Anyway, that's the mapping aspect. That's a map that I wanted to work on. So that's the amount of time it takes me to work on a map. And you can see for yourself what way I approach mapping a walk so that I know navigation-wise where I am. I'm still following a map, it's just that there's no blazes on these trails. So there's nothing that says go left here. Some of these deeper mountains like Table Mountain, there's nothing that says go right, go left. It just doesn't show you that when you're on the ground. So I'm taking that as a mobile device. I'm taking the directions, the lefts, the right. I can also turn on a part of my phone that will, in outdoor active, which will also audibly tell me from my pocket, you are off the trail. Go left, you're 60 meters off the trail. Really interesting technology, some of the stuff that's out there. Anyway, listen, I hope this video has been of some help to you. And if you have any questions about navigation, just ask me. A lot of people are already into this stuff, but I just wanted to let you know what detail I go to. I don't just go tracking up a mountain and say, oh, let's get lost. There's certain procedures that I go through that mean that I don't get lost, or that I have a backup plan. And I may not need to refer to this map at all while I'm walking, because I will have the coordinates, I will have the distances in my mind. I know I need to walk for at least an hour to get to a certain point, another hour, another hour. I know how long it's going to take me. And I'll be able to visualize on the ground a lot of like where people have walked. You'll see their footfall on the ground. And you mightn't even have to refer to the map, but it's important to do that process before you do anything else.